Hi, Anna. I would like
Hello.
to welcome you to Depth by Design. You are my first ever guest and also my roommate. So, Anna is 20 years old. She's a university student who grew up in Thailand and made the big move to study
Yeah.
political science in Amsterdam. She enjoys fitness, fried eggs, yogurt bowls, and tanning.
Oh my goodness.
And I already mentioned she's my first ever guest on Depth by Design, the podcast, and my roommate. So
Yeah.
welcome once more.
Thank you.
And I'll just go over kind of the points and agenda of this episode. So we're looking to help others who might be considering moving to another country, potentially give
Okay.
them some insights. And on a more personal note, how your experiences in Amsterdam are shaping you as a person.
Okay.
Also, I would, as I mentioned in your introduction, you enjoy fitness. So I would also like to touch a little bit on the fitness component because on my YouTube channel, I've been chronicling my knee injury a little bit and my 5K training. So I also think it's appropriate to touch on some fitness and how
Okay.
it fits into your life. So let's jump right in. Let's start with telling the listeners about where exactly did you grow up?
I grew up in Phuket. Should I look at the camera?
You can do whatever. I think you don't need to look at the camera. You can just look at
Okay.
me like a conversation.
Okay.
Yeah.
I grew up in Phuket, which is an island in Thailand,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd spent most of my time there before coming here, and it's really different from Amsterdam. I feel like in every aspect, so
Mm.
I could touch on that. But yeah, just a really, really stark contrast to the city here.
Yeah, because that was going to be my next question. What was it like growing up there? And what are some big differences, maybe culturally, from growing up
Oh,
on an island? Or, I mean, I
yeah,
don't know if Thailand's more of a collectivist culture. Am I right with that? Like more
yeah,
group
for
oriented?
sure. Like especially in Phuket, because it's a smaller, it's a smaller place.
Mm.
There's a lot of differences culturally, but also like it's not going to be comparable as an expat versus like as a local growing up there. You can't really,
Mm.
you have to consider that when I talk about how different they are, because I'm sure like a Dutch person's comparison of Phuket and Amsterdam are going to be
Yeah.
different as well. But it was really, I think culturally it's a bit of a shock because it's more, I'm not sure if the word cold is appropriate, but
Amsterdam or Phuket?
Amsterdam
Amsterdam, a little more
for
cold.
sure.
Okay.
Dutch people are a little more, I think, because Thai people are very approachable and
Mm.
open, and they will go out of their way to talk to you. It's more
Mm, I see.
common that you'll talk to strangers like you know them, and um, I think here people they're a little bit more scared to break that barrier with strangers. That's just my experience, and um, not that they're more unapproachable, but the body language is very different, I think.
Interesting. The body language is different. And is
Yeah,
Phuket, is it a bigger city or it's just a smaller
it's
town?
yeah, it's very small. It's not very dense,
Mm.
so um, I think compared to Amsterdam, Phuket is, yeah, it is bigger, but it's not as densely
Mm.
populated. So I don't know about the comparison with that, but yeah, it's an island. Everyone knows each
Yeah.
other. It's more of a
Okay.
community, I feel like.
Okay. Because I'm also wondering, okay, are bigger cities in Thailand, are people still more approachable than, would you say,
Mm,
here? I mean, these are all right comparisons that are like,
yeah,
but it's still interesting to get, insights into this. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
I think that usually when you think of a big city, Bangkok's the capital. So
Okay.
I've never lived there. I've only been there, I've only passed through, but it's much more of a rat race and,
Mm.
skyscrapers, and it's much more densely populated as well. Um, and it's really different to Phuket. I think um, culturally, maybe not so much, but the lifestyle is just as different compared to Phuket as you would compare Phuket to
Mm-hmm.
Amsterdam, I feel like.
And how has the transition coming from Phuket to Amsterdam, how was that for you, especially in the beginning, like the initial?
Yeah, it was really overwhelming.
Mm.
On my tram back from the airport to my accommodation, I just started crying when I was looking out the
Yeah.
window because
Yeah,
all the
it's a lot.
buildings looked like really fake, and I was like, where
Where
am
am
I?
I? That's really relatable. Like when I think about when I first got here, like being jet lagged, and you're just like, what the heck did I do?
Yeah,
You're like, I don't know
yeah,
anyone. Then you're like being driven around by this stranger, a very nice man
yeah,
in a taxi, but still a stranger.
yeah,
And it's very overwhelming, right? And you have to like learn all these little things that for someone who grew up here, like they just know and they don't even
yeah,
think about. So that I can understand, like I kind of relate to that overwhelming
yeah.
uh feeling
It's
for
like a
sure.
stomach drop because when you see like the language is different, everything's so foreign, it doesn't even feel real. But I think that's
Yeah.
normal.
Yeah, I definitely think, especially in the beginning, you're gonna go through a transition phase
Yeah.
for sure. And how are you kind of looking back now? How do you feel like you're doing now with like the transition and being in Amsterdam? Because how long ago was that now?
That was August 2022.
Okay, so we're
I think.
filming. What month is this? April 2025. So 3 years now.
Yeah, almost.
Yeah, and how do you feel more comfortable? What are some things that maybe you still haven't gotten used to, and what things like now you're
Mm,
like, or even some things I wish I knew before coming here.
yeah. Mm, I mean, as a coming here as a university student, it was much easier than I'd
Mm,
imagine as an expat, like coming here for work,
yeah.
because you have that community of other students, and it's so international in Amsterdam that I met so many people like in the exact same boat. So that was really comforting, and that to have like a group that you could share your experiences with and like share tips with. So my advice is just to like talk to as many people as possible, um and just don't, just every opportunity you get to meet someone new, like definitely take it, and don't be scared to ask questions and share your experiences, because I'm sure that will also relieve them as well, like,
Yeah.
and that's a bonding experience to like share these fears and anxieties with other people.
Yeah, for sure. Like when you open up a little bit, people tend to then also open up a
Yeah,
little bit. That's something I keep seeing reflect. And I would definitely agree, like just take the opportunity, whatever you can get to meet people, which I think as someone who's a little more introverted personally, that can be exhausting sometimes, right? So, but sometimes I do find like if I just like pushed myself just to go and just to like do it
yeah,
and get out of my comfort zone, it just, even the practice, like even if it never led to like meeting a long-term friend or whatever, just the practice of like
yeah,
getting out of your comfort zone, practicing talking to people, just making those connections is, already so helpful in trying to like, I've noticed help build up more of a network
yeah.
um overall.
I definitely agree. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
so important, even as an introvert, like I'm also very introverted, and I, if someone who's listening is really introverted, I would say push yourself. Like know your boundaries, but definitely try to push yourself and go out of your comfort zone to do that, because not only is it good practice for you, but especially with Amsterdam and the housing situation, you never know what opportunities other people will have for you in terms of housing, or
That's a good point.
yeah, you never know what will come out of a conversation with someone, even if you don't develop like a close friendship. All it takes is to be acquainted.
Truly.
So
Yeah, I mean, there's even just recently, I had someone's phone number in my phone for like over a year, and I never like reached out to them, but just recently reached out to them because I was trying to learn more about like a certain industry, job wise. And so you never know, like even a full year later, when just trying to get acquainted with people, something could recircle, and you're like, oh wait, I did meet this one person a while back, and actually now it'd be really useful for me to get in touch with them. And so even things like that, you never know how things might circle back or pan out.
yeah.
So why did you choose to study in Amsterdam out of all other potential places you could have studied?
I don't have much of a why. I kind of made the decision like with not too much thought, which is not good, but like I was 16, 17 years old, so I didn't know anything about Amsterdam. I'd applied to the UK, but I didn't really hear good things about it and the weather, and I didn't make the grades for the conditional offers, so it kind of just fell into place that I just, the other options kind of faded away, and I just chose Amsterdam, especially for the school and the program as well.
Did you talk to any people, like even if it was just like, okay, your dad or your mom, like, and how did that, like those discussions help or not help in, making this decision?
Yeah. My parents were like, they gave me some advice of, you should go to where your passport would benefit you, or your citizenship. So like the UK and Thailand made more sense, but um, they still gave me a lot of freedom. Like it was just a little nudge, and that kind of made it difficult to make a decision, because there was like a lot of freedom of choice, and I don't think that really helped me because I didn't have much information. So honestly, it was like my network of friends as well. Some of them chose to come here, and talking about the school and what we found out about Amsterdam while, doing our own research. And I just felt more comfortable knowing there were a few people that I knew that wanted to go there as well.
Yeah.
So that was honestly it. I could have chosen somewhere else, honestly.
Well, yeah, I mean, in theory, you could have chosen, so many other places, but, it's always nice. Sounds like you reached out to people you knew and talked to them. And had they already come here beforehand, or just, okay, so through just like research together and talking, you're like, okay, maybe this is a place I could get comfortable in and try out. But also, even knowing that there's a few people here doesn't take away from like that overwhelming experience, like you mentioned earlier, when you first get here and you're like, what the heck? Like, I still have to figure out so much by myself. But I do agree, because I also came here for university, that having the structure of like being a university student does help kind of navigate a little bit all the unknowns of a new country, because at least like, I need to go to class, like even that simple structure, like I need to go to class, I will meet people in class, talk to people that way, professors and things like that. And then we kind of already went over like kind of like what some advice you would give to someone who's considering moving to another country or even getting a degree abroad. And that advice was to well, we already talked about it, to push yourself out of your comfort zone, which it all sounds cliche, but like actually doing it is a whole nother story. Like you always hear it, like, oh, do things out of your comfort zone, push yourself. But it's a whole nother experience actually doing it.
Yeah.
And I think you're really pushed to do something like that when you are, especially another country or a place you didn't grow up in and don't already have that built-in network. So I really appreciated that advice that you gave. And now I think I'm going to switch gears to fitness a little bit.
Okay.
Because I understand fitness is very important to you. So can you talk a little bit about how you got into fitness?
Well, I was always like a fit kid. That's
athletic.
My parents put me in ballet, and I went to the beach like every day with my dad, so we'd be swimming. And I was in the swim team for I think like 5-6 years, and that was also like weight training and swimming, running, whatnot. So that's what got me into fitness and exercising.
So it sounds like it was really built into like your lifestyle growing up.
Yeah, and as like if you grow up, by the beach or in a tropical environment, I feel like you're more inclined to be more active because you're going outside, you're playing in the sand and swimming. And my dad really encouraged me. He made me like go sailing as well and kayaking, which I really hated.
But at least you know.
Yeah,
you
now
tried
I
it,
know, and I won't be doing it again.
Yeah, well, that's fair. That's everybody's right. And did your relationship with fitness change at all when you came to Amsterdam?
I think because the structure I had with the swim team, and that I had goals kind of set for me that you need to make, beat your PR.
Is this a swim team back in Thailand or here?
Oh, not here.
Okay,
the
so
water is too cold.
Okay.
Absolutely not. When you're a part of like a team and you're competing in a sport, you have the goals. Your goals are pretty simple, and they're it's kind of set for you. Like your coach decides
structure.
Yeah, you've got structure. So coming here and not being part of some kind of team or association, and you're doing fitness on your own, you have to really set your goals and discipline yourself, and that's the biggest difference. And that also obviously changes your relationship to exercise when you don't have the structure put on you, and it's
it's more only on you, right? Like you don't have a coach that's holding you accountable. It's like no one's gonna care if you don't go to the gym one day, or if you do go to the gym. So really, it sounds like you're saying like there was a big shift from like having the external accountability and motivator to like now it's internal and kind of on me. Was that like easy to get into, that kind of like go to the gym on this day, like setting up your own structure when you came here, or did it take a little time to figure that out or get better at it? Or are you still working on it? Or
I think I found it pretty easy because I'd also been going outside of training times to the gym on my own, and I knew that I had to do it, and I really enjoyed it, so I didn't really see an issue with going. Also, I didn't have a job. Like I had so much time on my hands, I could just spend all day there, so that made it so easy.
Okay, so it sounds like you also naturally just really enjoy it as well, which is always super helpful when you're just intrinsically enjoy it, and that already helps in motivation. Are there ever days where you're like, I don't want to do this, but you still do?
Yeah, well now like it's been 3 years of me doing it. There are a lot of days that I just can't be bothered. And sometimes I'll go, sometimes I won't. Like I don't really care at this point.
It depends. And you have to give yourself, grace right? And like not
Yeah.
beat yourself up too much if you decide not to go one day, because overall it's about health is kind of a bigger picture and is more about like the consistency versus focusing on the one day you didn't go. Like overall, like that's not going to be a deal breaker for your overall fitness goals. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? As long as you're consistently going. And
Yeah.
I think it's actually going to work against you and your goals if you like beat yourself up because one day you didn't go.
No, like there's a line in discipline where you're doing it because you love yourself, and then you're doing it out of like some negative like punishment or hatred, or like, you know,
Yeah.
negative feelings towards doing that kind of motivates your discipline. That's going to backfire on you long term. So you have to, I know a lot of people say like give yourself grace if you don't want to go and go, but if you really like have goals that you want to achieve, then you can try to, you know, reinforce that discipline a bit more, and like, but you need to do it out of that, oh, I don't want to go, but I have to go today because I love myself and it's good for me. And if you don't agree with that day, then don't go.
Yeah, no, that was really well said. That was really well said because you could be working out, right? But if you're doing it because I don't know, this like self-hatred like you said, and mentioning this kind of backfire over the long term is, yeah, it could backfire in the sense like it might affect your consistency over the long term.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, for whatever reason, like hit a certain goal because you're, yeah, it's really complicated, but it definitely it comes down to that relationship with yourself,
Yeah.
which I know it's like, and it's sad because I think a lot of us struggle with our relationship with ourselves, right? Like we talk to ourselves in ways we would never talk to a friend.
Yeah. That's really important to remember, that you need to remind yourself, would I say this to someone else? And you need to stop yourself if the answer is no.
Yeah, and sometimes like even just saying out loud a thought that I just had to myself, like sometimes even just saying out loud,
I never thought about
you
that.
hear how horrible that was. And why am I saying that to myself in my head?
That's such a good idea. But then, like, what if someone hears me, like, berating myself?
I think too, I've gotten a lot better at like not caring what people hear or if I look goofy like on my morning runs because I'm wearing like all this bright gear so I don't get hit by a car or a bike or anything like that, because I'm just like locked in, you know. And I have a way better relationship because I feel like I'm doing it because I feel like it helps me be like, for me, like fitness helps me be so much more mentally clear, helps my mood like stabilize so much.
Yeah.
And then I also keep hearing on like a lot of other podcasts, like, I mean, being healthy. I mean, it's not a shocker. Everyone knows like eating, sleeping, exercising are all the key things, right? But I feel like I'm really at a point where like I'm like at such a good sweet spot where I feel like I'm doing just like the exercise that my for my health and my age like I actually need to do, and it's just like overall really helping me mentally. And the point of me talking about this is like I feel like I'm also doing it for all the right reasons, where I just feel like and I think like for me it's not aesthetic based, and I think it's actually okay. I'm not like against people having aesthetic reasons for wanting to work out, but it once again it comes down to like if it's coming from a place of like safe self-hatred of like I hate the way I look, then that needs to be re-examined a little bit. Like I think it's okay. Like I would like I want to have a nice body. Like I think that's okay, but but it comes from that,
Yeah, it's a tough line to navigate, I think.
Yeah, and I also am like thinking a little more like long term of what I was gonna say earlier, like other podcasts, like health podcasts, mentioning just like the health of yourself and how that like when you want to eventually reproduce and have children.
Oh my god.
I know, like that's really far in the future, but that is also super important for your offspring, like for the health of the offspring, not only just but also their mental health, like whether they are more likely to develop like autism or things like that.
Oh my god.
So taking care of yourself is also taking care of your future children in a way that are
that's really scary.
I know that's a thought that's not going to resonate with everyone, but it's something I think about because I do want to have children someday, and I think it's just I feel like, and if it helps keeps me motivated, and I'm also doing it for myself, helps me be more mentally clear and feel more locked in with like the work I do at school or elsewhere, then yeah, then that's all good stuff. And so, but overall, how do you think fitness has been important in your life overall?
It's I think it's a really good like third space. I hear that term where you've got school, work.
Yeah, tell me a little bit more about define third space for me.
Well, it's just like it's usually people have school or they have work and they have their home environment, and then you need other spaces that you go to, you frequent often. Is that how you go to frequently with the same community? And I think it's really good for your mental health. Going to the gym is good because a lot of people go consistently too, and you meet a lot of nice people. That really helps with your fitness as well, and it's just really helps with your mental health. To go.
Yeah, and I guess that also kind of circles back to like being in a new country. Like, I personally haven't made like friends at the gym, but like even like seeing the familiar people that you go to like at the same time, like the gym regulars. Like I have some like almost like heroes of my gym heroes that they don't even know that they're like my gym heroes and I'm looking up to every day, and I'm like, oh, I want to be going to the gym as fit as them when I'm their age. Even that kind of just helps provide like, I don't know, a little sense of belonging and a little sense of community, even if you're not making friends or actively going out of your way to talk to them. I really like that.
The gym is such like, people who are experienced in the gym, I find that they're so much more, they're so friendly and open to giving advice and really helping you out, that it also helps with your fitness goals as well.
Yeah, and you can, and you might make friends. Like I said, personally, I never made like any like long-term friends that I'm like hanging out with on a regular basis. But it's also a really good place to start because you know that people who are going are typically also people who are going to be aligned with the same kind of idea or relationship with fitness. Like they care about fitness. Because I personally find like it starts to become a little more of a struggle with friendships if like someone, I don't know, is just not aligned with your values. I think that's with any relationship, and those values can include also like my physical, mental health are really important to me, and I want to take steps to maintain that. And it becomes a little more difficult if it doesn't mean you can't be friends with them, but maybe for me personally, it's harder to, sometimes be close friends with people who don't have those same values. But I do think we can start wrapping up. I do want to do one more question and kind of tie everything back to Amsterdam and being here and on this new adventure and different life you're living than maybe the life you lived in Phuket. So how do you think Amsterdam is shaping you as a person?
Oh
I know it's a
God.
big question.
I could talk a lot. I feel like it's really changed me as a person to become more independent. Going abroad on your own, you really learn to be independent and improvise and try to, adapt. And that's really, it builds your confidence a lot, to do something as big as moving abroad on your own. Especially I came when I was 17, so I feel like it really developed, like, me coming into my own self and becoming an adult. But Amsterdam specifically, there's so many people. You can learn so many things because Amsterdam is such a, I feel like there's so many creatives and people are always doing something else. There's always something someone is doing that you can learn from, take inspiration from. Lots of artists and creatives in Amsterdam. But I would advise try to integrate with the Dutch culture if you can, especially starting out. If you haven't started thinking about coming yet, or you haven't, you're not here yet. If you're thinking of coming, because people really value that, and that's, it'll help you out a lot. And it is very international, but there is especially in the city center, there's a really clear divide between expats and Dutch people, and there's not much of integration there.
Yeah.
So learning the language would definitely help with that.
Yeah, I'm still kind of personally working on the language, but people I think really appreciate, even if you're using like a simple dankjewel, which is thank you in Dutch. Even at a store, like I feel like people appreciate that.
Yeah.
Not like I'm not definitely speaking full sentences because I'm not there yet. But they appreciate those little efforts. But I do agree. I keep hearing that echo just in conversations with other, expat friends or even Dutch friends, that there is that divide, and it's tough, right? Because I mean, maybe a Dutch person has lived in Amsterdam for the past like 10 years. They already have their established friend group. They also, when they go out to bars, want to talk in Dutch with their friends because that's what's most comfortable for them and that's what they grew up doing. So that's understandable. And then it's a little like, okay, you maybe invite another expat friend, which I always super appreciate when someone does that, especially a Dutch person. I think that's really amazing because I understand like it's a lot nicer to just be able to talk in Dutch. It's a lot easier for them, comfortable to just talk in Dutch on a night out. So it's kind of like, right, it's understandable. It's not like people are no expats, like I don't like you. It's just a little bit harder, and it does take a little more effort, I think, on both sides. Like it can happen, and I definitely personally I'm feeling definitely a lot more integrated, even just with my interaction with Dutch people or just hanging out with Dutch people a little bit more than maybe this time a year ago or a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
So yes, Anna, I want to thank you for all your insights today. I really appreciate it, and thank you for being my first ever guest on Depth by Design. I do have something for you for being a guest.
Oh wow!
And it's a homemade muffin.
You already gave one to me last night.
Well, I was gonna give you two.
Oh my god! Thank you.
But now you just give one.
Yay!
All right.
Honestly, thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. And
You're
until
welcome.
next time.